paraplegic, they sold the house.
Why?
Because they didn't want us around. In their house in Elkins Park, the house was so big that every time our parents saw me coming, they went to another part and I never saw them.
Okay.
Well, what you seem to know a lot about Quakers, what about...
I wasn't talking about George.
I know.
I wasn't talking about
what about conservative... I hear you claim that Ezra Pound broadcast anti-Semitic speeches to the American troops who didn't care anyway.
That's all true.
And that he should have been shot, except that Ernest Hemingway was interested in him for old time's sake.
I thought it was a guy Davenport.
Well, I went up to Yale and they had this opening of the Center for the Study of Ezra Pound and his Contemporaries, and it was in the Barnacky Library, which is for rare books and cost $7 million to make in the middle of Yale, and I wasn't invited. And Ezra Pound's daughter was there, and all these other people are going to have a big dinner. I went to the library, to the auditorium early, and Guy Davenport was coming down the walkway with a professor, and he said, Reed, what are you doing here? And I said, I just came up for the lecture. I rented a room, and I talked to him. And,
that talk is in Geography of the Imagination, you know. Really.
I didn't know.
Yeah, it is. It is.
He has a tendency to put things in that he knows.
Well, I mean, that's the collected works of Guy Davenport. The collected non-fictional works.
Oh yeah, well the things that he talked about in his freshman English to me are the same things that are in that book. I mean, his interests, like Charles Ives, like Pound, like Eudora Welty, like modernism, like everything has been totally consistent all the way through.
Right.
But the thing was that, he told me, although he's very modest, and he said it in a modest way just so he had someone to talk to, that it was claimed that that was the best speech that had been given in Yale in 20 years. That's not, I mean, it probably was.
Right, but he would tell you.
And he told me as a young guy and a friend, but he didn't broadcast it all over, you know, he's modest.
No, he isn't.
Well, but I mean, he wouldn't need to be unmodest, you know what I mean?
Right.
He didn't have to flash those signboards and put it on his resume, because everybody knew it. I didn't understand anything.
Right.
I didn't understand the speech any more than when Hugh Kenner came to Haverford. I didn't know what they were talking about.
Which one?
Well, what do you think of the ABC of reading?
Well, I think the ABC of reading is the book that every college undergraduate should be. They probably shouldn't be made to read it, but they should all be conned into reading it somehow, so they know how ignorant they are, as we all are.
Well, I read, Guy Davenport had me read the ABC of reading when he was giving me 40s on my regular papers.
Good.
And what I remember is Dichten is condensare. The German word for to speak or to make poetry equals condensare in an Italian dictionary.
Who said that poetry is charged language? Is that Pound?
I sure think it might be close to that because it's the same idea. I think it strikes me as being, the same, I think it was Pound, huh?
Right.
See, they were reacting against all, Swinburne and Wordsworth and Whitman.
And not Eliot, because he's a friend of Pound's, but,
all that language, filming.
What was it when Mr. Davenport and Stan Brakhage?
Yeah, well, that was a year before when they met up, and Brakhage got up at the end of his, 300 people were there in this auditorium, and he got up and said, "Where's Guy Davenport?" And then, Mr. Davenport and him and a bunch of the sort of arty people all went to a little room to talk. In the end, there was nobody left but me and Brakhage and Davenport, with me making notes on my sneakers. Because they're all talking about Pound.
Right, all right.
Everybody else lost interest. And I'm sitting down, Alice B. talk with this, this thing, that thing, other on my sneakers. And Brakhage remembered me. I was Davenport's big friend till the next year when he came. And again, all the sort of artsy people, I don't know, I knew him better because of Davenport than now. I was a football player. I wasn't part of that crowd, but I'll tell you, it was one of the high points of my college career was to meet Davenport and Brakhage at the same time, and just be an out of it freshman who didn't know what he was doing and writing his stuff on it. I went home with my sneakers and looked up that stuff, and then I read the ABC reading and went on and did all my stuff. I actually discovered, I figured, the second year I was working with Dad, but this thing's like a tree. The more you learn, the more it branches out and you want to learn. It was like an individual discovery of the metaphor of the tree of knowledge.
Right.
You know, and it just went and went and went all along, you know, everywhere. And I used to, when that second part of that year, I used to roll out of bed in the morning and pick up a book about symbolism or the symbolism of Rimbaud or something like that, and I'd read it till night. And my avocation and my vocation, one of which is being a student and one of which is just being a kid, was exactly the same. I just wound up completely and being scholarly too, picking out all these little details that nobody else was interested in, Walter Pater or something like this, you know, going on involved in it. But I really learned that, you know, that's what Haverford wanted me to do, is be a scholar, you know, and I get involved with all this stuff and go all over the library in the back and every place and dig this stuff out. So I had I won a little prize because I had a bibliography about 60 items in it, you know, that probably nobody else ever looked up, you know, some of those books and old things, and Oscar Wilde and Gabriele D'Annunzio and all these things, but a specialist in the field, which like Mr. Davenport was in all fields. But we know about these things, but not very many other Haverford people were, you know, got, at least in the, that I hung around with, like Hubie and my friends, they weren't interested in this stuff at all, you know, but I was really turned on by all of it. And then after Davenport left, I wasn't the same, you know. But I had these grades were really high, and I knew how to work, and by that time I could write really well without, he said he would accept no paper that couldn't be put on a cover of the New York Times. In other words, perfect, to start with. You know, then he'd read it. It took me a year to get that down there. But by the end of the second year, I could do it, you know what I mean? I could write a paper, you know, with no mistakes of punctuation or spelling or anything. It could be perfect. And then I could, after a while, I could write around corners. I mean, I got too good in a way. I could trick these other teachers who didn't, you know, I could write. But so I got high grades another year, and then the last year I just messed around. But I went to Bryn Mawr. Yeah, well.
It's amazing what determines one's literary interests. In other words, all the poets who I think are great are either a result of Wormhout knowing Ivor Winters or you knowing Guy Davenport.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, despite the fact that we think we got our education from other means, I mean, that's really how we got it.
I like the poetry of my friends best. I mean, the people I'm interested in are my friends. I mean, everybody from Guy Davenport to Ray Bremser, who wouldn't have any use for each other, is who I like, you know. But I think I choose my friends who are, you know, have some good talent, you know. So,
I like to think that poetry, you know, the poets are wiser than me.
I know I'm not wise, but baby, you are tears in bars. Your shorn face masses eye air, eyeball to eyeball. Your nose touches mine into blur up front, far out you, floating buzz, color, us thus go, necessary pass of the angel between us. We dance eyebrows, sponge each other with us eyes, face to face, full face press into our space. We lose the space between us, seal like an envelope. On your tears, I kiss your lip for hours. Revolutionary poet. Your revolution is water. Right now you have 10 fingers, you know, but not gentle pennies, knives. I'm killed, red, gentle, posthumous decoration. You save for me, checking your fingers. You burn off towards this deadly purity on the water. It cannot be done otherwise, even if it cannot be done. Brilliant art to love, comrade. I count your fingers, 10 more rising, hey hook high. I die again, poet. Baltimore, 1980. I am always playing Star Chamber Baby to my first and only heart self-attack. I'm so hip the balls of my feet are red. I go from city to city and don't notice the difference. I'm on the road again, tired. I ain't no bear on an antelope, slipping and sliding to avoid trouble, get a free hit of wine, pay my rent 2 weeks ahead, don't eat